Jim Norton is not a doctor. He's not an expert. He's not even a good person. The views, opinions, advice, and humor of Jim Norton does not reflect those of any doctor, of Sirius XM, of Opie Radio, or anyone else. They are solely those of Jim Norton, Lyle Chipperson, Edgar Mellencamp, Paul Hargis, and whoever else lives in that chinless head of his. If any of this advice goes wrong, you are the asshole who called a comedian instead of a doctor.
An icon in comedy, a fighter for freedoms, an accomplished entertainer, and a pervert. You've got problems, he's got problems. You've got questions, he's got answers, some of which are good. Call now 866-WOW-1-WOW. That's 866-969-1969. This is the Jim Norton Show.
Good afternoon. It's the Jim Norton Show with our announcement. I'm doing pretty well. I feel I had a productive day again. You always feel good when you have a productive day. At least I do. Like some days after radio, I'll come home. I usually hit the gym. But then I'll come home and just sit in front of the computer all day and do nothing. Or I'll catch up on shows, but you don't really feel like you're accomplishing anything. When, you watch 9 Walking Dead episodes and then, break it up with a massage and a finger in your hiney. It's not exactly a productive afternoon. But today I had a work meeting to go to, and I just raced back in time and got here in time to do this show, which I do from my home, which is nice. I'm in my counter in a pair of shorts showing off my the award-winning Norton legs, which are very popular. And, it just feels good when you do the right thing. It's really fucking hot in my house, too. I don't know why I keep it so hot. I'm just hoping when women come in, they want to take their clothes off. It's like a really creepy, 1985 high school boy trick, and it never works. Instead of taking their clothes off and getting down, they just leave. So I think I'm going to, get a little hot and bothered. They're going to oh, I have to take my shirt off. But then they're just yeah, it's kind of hot. I better go. All right. We have a few calls already here. It's going to be a busy show. Paul, yay! Paul in New York. Been sober for 2 years and now having sexual issues. I suspect someone switched addictions. Hi, Paul.
Hi, Jeremy. How you doing?
Hello?
Hello, Paul.
Is Paul there?
Yes, this is Paul.
Oh, hi, Paul. What happened?
I don't know, Jimmy. What happened?
All right, well, you're here. How you doing, buddy?
Good. Yeah, so I've been sober for 600 days now, and I was an opiate addict.
Okay.
And I was able, I didn't have much sex drive when I was an addict, but when I did have sex, it was good, and it took me a very long time to come. And now that I've been sober for, almost 2 years, starting to see someone and we're having sex, and I'm just coming immediately. And it's horrible and embarrassing.
Well, why? How long is immediately?
Well, I mean, a minute, 2 minutes.
So you kind of can't find a balance. Like before it was too long and not good, and now it's just you're like a fucking 2-pump Pete.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there's old tricks for that. I mean, for me it always takes too long, which is not, I'm not bragging, it's not a good thing. It's just hard for someone else to make me feel good. Do you do the old techniques of stopping? Like, can you go for a little bit and then just stop?
Well, I've heard you talk about edging before, and I've always done that throughout my whole life. That's just how I've always jerked off.
Well, how long since you're blowing quick loads?
Well, since I've been sober.
Oh, for the whole 2 years. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't have much sex the first year I was sober.
I would say try. I would say try having sex for 30 seconds and then stopping and making yourself stop. Not even edging. Don't get yourself close to coming. Can you go for 30 seconds and then stop and then start again for 30 seconds and then stop and maybe make yourself get used to at least being there for a little while longer? There's probably a way to bridge yourself back into doing it a little longer, no?
Okay. I mean, I don't know. It's frustrating.
Yeah, I would try that. I would suggest trying it. I mean, the worst that can happen is you still come fast, but it's not going to make you come any faster. And tell her what you're doing just so she doesn't think you're a mental patient.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Tell her, look, I've been, I used to do a lot of drugs, and since I stopped doing drugs, I've been making cumsies very fast, and I would like to stay inside of you without making cumsies. So we're going to practice. I'm going to bridge myself into a longer fuck. Say it just like that. She'll be charmed.
All right. Sounds good, Jim.
All right. Good luck, buddy.
Thank you.
Let's see here. Chris in Colorado, having a hard time finding a date in a small town. Yes, it's like every country song. How are you, Chris?
I'm good, Jimmy. It just sucks without finding a date for like 5 years.
Well, yeah, 5 years. I guess, well, the good thing about the times we live in is, are you on any dating websites?
Really? I tried Plenty of Fish, and I get hooked up with these psychos.
Well, I didn't like Plenty of Fish. I looked at it once, but like you have to be within X amount of years of your date. It's like, who the fuck are you to tell me I can't?
Yeah,
it's really irritating. So Plenty of Fish I didn't like. Well, try some other ones, dude. I mean, there's psychos on all of them, I'm sure, but there's psychos in real life. Walk into a bar, meet a girl at work. There's fucking kooks all over, but online you're having more access to people, so you're probably having the odds of meeting a psycho are more online.
Right. So how would I get around that little loophole in a small 10,000 population town where everybody seems to be taken and the ones that are single are not out and about?
Well, the good thing is that dating websites, you can expand your search parameters by 100 miles or 50 miles. Like, I know that doesn't sound like it, but there's not many options when you're in a small town. So the internet is your friend. No, but dude, you can go out there and just find somebody who's from the next town over. You don't have to just go to your local bar where every girl knows if she leaves with you, every guy is going to know about it, you know?
Right.
Yeah, put up a dating site. Put up a profile saying, "Look, I'm a small town boy, and look, there's these whores are all taken, so I need someone outside my area."
Yeah. All right, I'll do that. Thanks, Jimmy.
Good luck, man.
All right, thank you.
All right, I have just the opposite problem. I live in the Big Apple, and there's a lot of choices here, but also a lot of psychos. I don't think there's any way around that. So Alyssa in Long Island has a very interesting question. Hello, Alyssa.
Hi. Okay, how are you?
Good.
I'm just wondering how to get my husband to talk dirty. I told him I'd like it in the past and I want him to do it, but it just never seems to happen.
Well, do you talk dirty to him?
All the time.
Like, do you say, like, hey, go down there and eat my Coda for a few minutes? Get down there and lick my Coda. How do you get him to talk dirty? Well, I've had the same problem with women. I think the fear people have of talking dirty is none of us want to look stupid in bed. None of us want to look bad. And I think that the key is that you got to let people know that you're not going to be judging them on, and they're not going to look stupid if they make a mistake. Like, you don't want to correct him. Like, if he says, like, I'm just going to put it in your pussy. Don't call it a pussy, call it a cunt. Like, don't scold him if he makes a mistake. I think that's a big important thing, is people don't want to look stupid. But yeah, I always want people to talk a little dirty. What is his answer when you ask him in real life?
I don't know, but I usually just said it when we're in bed. I start talking to him, and I'm hoping that he'll just follow.
Here's what you got to do. Talk to him outside of bed. Talk to him while you're having coffee somewhere, because it's safe to talk things through there. You don't want to just spring it on somebody in the sack, because then you're vulnerable. And I don't want shit like, hey, could you do this? It's like, and you're already, even though you're married, nobody wants to look like a dud sexually. So I would say talk about it outside of bed. Talk about what you'd like to hear about. Just have a real discussion, but don't do it in a sexual situation. And then the next time,
how do you go about that? How do you even do that? I'm not sure, like, if I even feel comfortable bringing it up like that.
Well, why not? Like, if you don't have to say it mean. You don't have to say it while you're having your cornflakes. Like, hey, dud, I want to talk to you. Just say, hey, look, we have sex. Do you like when I talk dirty to you? He'll probably go, yeah, that's cool. And go, do you not like? Because I notice you don't do it. Do you not like doing it? And he might go, like, yeah, I'm just a quiet type. And go, like, because I think it'd be really hot. I'd love to hear you a little bit. Make it look like you'd love to hear it. Not like you're bad for not doing it. But look, I think you'd be really good at it. I would love to hear you do it. And he may be a little hesitant, but if he knows you're not giving him shit and you're not going, come on, do it or I can't come, he might be more likely to do that.
Okay. Thank you.
I think that might be but I would talk to him about it outside of bed.
Okay.
Okay? What is it you want him to talk about?
Just anything. Just say something. Just stop being quiet.
Okay. All right, that's fair enough.
I just want to know that I feel as good as he does.
What's that?
I just want to know that I feel as good as he does.
Yeah, and you like to hear a little bit of noise. You like to hear a little confirmation or a little dirty talk. It turns you on a bit. I understand.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I would say, again, that's my suggestion. Or talk. Do you text dirty with him?
Yes, all the time.
And he texts dirty back?
Yes.
Okay, so he has those thoughts. He's not a prude.
No, not at all.
Probably afraid of saying the wrong thing or looking stupid. He doesn't stutter, does he?
No. No.
Okay, because that would be awful. I want you to suck my All right, I get it. Yeah, talk to him outside a bit. All right, thank you, love.
Thank you.
Bye. I just called her love like I'm Richard Dawson from Family Feud. I really should be fucking shot in the face. Let's see. Mike in Florida recently kicked a narcotics addiction, but your problem working out family issues. Yeah, they're hard. Hey, Mike.
Hey, how's it going, Jimmy?
Good, buddy. How are you?
I'm all right. All right, thanks. Love you, man.
Thank you, man.
So, yeah, it was actually fairly recently that I actually stopped. It was some pills over a long course of time. And I finally came clean with some members of my family when this happened. And, yeah, it was a pretty big deal. And so since then, I've gotten into some treatment and a couple of various types of treatment. I can tell you what they are, but I don't know that really truly matters.
It doesn't matter.
But long story short, it's the rebuilding the trust and rebuilding those bridges that were burnt down. Since you might have some insight into that process, or maybe not, some advice on that, please.
Now, you burned the bridges, or he did?
Well, I burned the bridges by lying about the problem previously.
Okay. The only way to repair, I've found, burned bridges is really just to behave honestly. Like, that's the only way to gain trust, is to behave in a manner that's trustworthy. And when someone has betrayed a lot of trust or lied to a lot of family members or stolen a lot, they cannot expect, or you cannot expect, to all of a sudden go, okay, I'm better now, trust me. Because people, we trust people, or they trust us when we're fucking up, and we constantly betray that. So I think that the only way to do it is to behave in a very trustworthy manner and prove that we are deserving of the trust, and also allow people to fuck up, meaning allow people to not trust me even though I'm being honest. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes when I'm rebuilding something, people are going to automatically, assume I'm the old way, and I can't be self-righteous and go, how come you fucking treat me like I'm not trustworthy? I'm good now. It's like when I got caught cheating or talking dirty. I couldn't all of a sudden expect a girl to go like, oh, it's okay, you're a winner, I trust you, when I had already been deceitful. So, you know what I mean? We have to understand that we have kind of made that problem, and we have to expect that other people are going to doubt us a little bit. So if you're doubting somebody, understand that their behavior has to be consistently good for you to trust them. And if people are doubting you, realize that it's going to take a while before they actually trust you.
Yeah, I think the last point, Jimmy, I think that's great advice, because that's really the underlying problem, what I'm struggling with. And it's a very recent time, a few weeks since that I've stopped. And so, on one hand, I have to, allow them to not trust me. But on the other hand, at this stage in the process, it just, my emotions probably aren't quite normal. And it's very tough to kind of struggle with that balance.
And how long you clean now?
14 days.
Oh, that's great, dude. But that's a really great beginning. And, it's a really great start. And those are critical because you need them to get to a long term. But understand that, like, how long did you use for?
On and off for maybe 10, 11 years.
Okay. So take 11 years and put it next to 2 weeks. Look at what we give people to work with. We have 11 years of behavior and 2 weeks of good behavior. So they are it's like if you walk in and kick your dog every day for 11 years, the first time you walk in and don't kick him, he's still going to fucking hide from you. Eventually people learn to trust again, but it's something that we have to earn. And we have to earn just by behaving in a trustworthy manner. And you know what? Give them leeway. If they don't trust you sometimes, even when they should, go fuck it. Shit hits the fan and we got to clean it up when we get sober. Well, now you're paying the price for your deceptiveness before.
Thank you, Jimmy. That's great, man. I appreciate it.
But good luck, man. Stick with it. I'm really happy to hear that. And that's a great, great beginning.
Hey, thank you very much. Have a good one, man.
All right, buddy. Be good. All right. Well, there's no hope for that fucking liar. All right. Hey, Tyler in Michigan argues with his wife and would like some advice. How are you?
Hello?
Hi, buddy. What's up?
Oh, hey, man. I had a question about, It's just I don't know how important of a question this is.
Okay.
Actually, I've never called into your show before. I didn't even really realize that you had a show. I'm an asshole.
Oh, so how have you lived? How have you solved any problems without my sage advice?
Yeah. So my question was, my wife and I don't really argue that much, but when we do, I feel this pit in my stomach where I'm just like, I want to argue with her, you know?
Yeah. We get addicted to arguing. Sure, it's addictive.
Yeah, even if it's something real small, I want to push her so fucking hard, but and then I'll realize it later, and I'll feel like a real asshole, and I'll be like, I'm sorry, but I don't know what was wrong with me. I don't know why I pushed that.
Do you have like road rage and stuff?
No, I don't. I don't know if it has to do with. I love to pick on people. But
are you a bully or are you funny?
No. I'm like just joking around. I like to just joke around with people.
You like to verbally spar?
Huh?
You like to verbally spar?
No, not really. Not even that much. I don't feel like that confident of a person. I just feel like sometimes when I'm picking on people, if I feel like it should just be a little joke, and then they get really angry at me because of the little joke that I did.
Okay. Are they mean-spirited, the jokes?
Push them even further.
So you just keep going. Well, maybe you are a little bit of a bully.
Maybe.
That's a little bit of a bullying thing. Like when somebody who is uncomfortable with it, and we've all done it, but if you're consistently getting people mad at you because you're always pushing them, maybe there's a little bit of that.
Yeah, it's not even consistently or a lot of people. It's I feel like an asshole even saying it, but I think it's just my wife.
Oh, okay. So maybe you are you secretly mad at her for something?
I don't know. I don't know.
Like, why are you needling her and trying to start fights?
Yeah, I think maybe it boiled down to, when I got married to her 4 years ago now, I married into her already having 2 kids, and I didn't have any kids. And then it was just a huge responsibility, and I think I've just had to, over the last couple of years, completely change I can't just drop everything at the drop of a dime and just go wherever I want and do whatever I want anymore.
So you're a little resentful. Little resentful.
Maybe.
And you're needling her because you're mad at her. You deep sea, and she's probably like, "What the fuck did I do? What's happening?" Yeah. You're probably giving her really weird messages.
Yeah. But like I said, I feel like I notice that I'm doing it, but it's almost like compulsory, and then I feel like a super asshole and almost depressed about it later.
Well, I'll say this. You are kind of being an asshole, but at least you realize, like, hey, I was wrong. I mean, that's a good sign. You're not convinced that you're always right about it. Like, look, dude, anger can be really addicting. It's a very, I'm much more comfortable with anger than I am with frustration or sadness, because anger for me is somehow safe. And like those little arguments, sometimes they're easier to have than a real discussion and go, look, I'm a little frustrated. I feel like I've lost a lot of control in my life, and maybe I'm just being a bit of a baby. I can't do what I want to do, and I don't like that. It's like fucking, look, did she lie about having kids? So you knew what you were in for.
Yeah.
And maybe you want a little bit of freedom, and I don't know. I think recognizing it's important, but you probably just resent her deep down because you're, like you said, you can't go out and do what you want to do. So it's coming out in passive aggressive, little needling ways. And then when she reacts, you're probably like, what? I'm just joking. I'm just kidding. What the fuck? And then you almost put it on her and make it look like she's too sensitive. But deep down, you're needling her.
Definitely. Passive aggressive is the way it comes out, I think.
Yeah, but now that you know that you're doing it, try to catch yourself or admit to her that you did that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, look, I'm sorry I did that. That was really fucking twatty of me. I think I've been a little frustrated lately. This is a lot of responsibility. I'm doing the best I can. Like, maybe if you let her know, it will make her, do you know what I mean? Because then she won't go like, what the fuck did I do that he's always acting like this?
Yeah.
But at least now you know what it is.
Yeah, I definitely feel like an asshole about it. That's like the only time I think we ever argue is when I think I push it. I push it to an argument because I want to argue, but then I like I said, I just feel like a jerk afterwards.
Yeah, well, again, at least you feel like a jerk afterwards. So try to stop it in the middle next time, or try to catch yourself before you do it and know what you're doing.
Yeah, I think I've definitely come to the realization that I do it for sure. So, I mean, you know, like you said, I feel like I'm on the right path, but I feel still that almost, like you said, an addiction to the anger.
Yeah, because that's an easy one, and it fuels itself. If they can make anger fuel, it would be amazing for rockets, because it really does just kind of feed on itself. It doesn't need any other input. Your own words can make you angrier. It really is a great emotion. All right, well, good luck, buddy, okay?
Thanks, man.
All right, Adam in Minnesota. Oh, what's the matter with your wife? She's being selfish.
Yeah, she hits every night. She's constantly just bitching and fighting about something, and she'll swear at me when she gets frustrated if she can't find something, or she's always going to put the blame onto me. And the only time that I come back at her and try and say something is about her daughter, and her daughter she doesn't listen to anything.
How old
I
is
keep
her
trying
daughter?
to tell her that she's the same way, 7 years old. She's teaching her selfish ways and her anger, and that's why she's so frustrated with her, and it's just a full circle.
You're trying to tell her, like, look, she's, I learned it from you, Dad. Like, it's one of those, like, yeah, she's 7. She's getting this shitty behavior from you.
Right.
Does she notice it at all?
When I try and bring something up, she does agree at sometimes, but then she thinks that I'm just picking on her, that I'm saying that she's a horrible mom, and then I tell her, no, I think you're a great mom. It's just I think you need to change some things so that you're not so frustrated with the way that she's acting.
Yeah, it's always hard when you're telling somebody what's wrong with them, and especially if you're telling a mother this is what you're doing that's affecting your kid negatively. It's hard for them to hear, especially since you're not the dad,
right.
Technically, right? That's got to be a little frustrating. Sometimes, I try to keep it on myself. Like, I try to relate to some of the behavior because, like, if someone talks about being selfish, and I'll go, all right, well, look, a lot of times I'm selfish, and this is what I do that's selfish, and this is how I try not to do it. And it sounds like I'm being a self-centered ass, making it about me. But there are times where giving someone advice or telling them, you should do this, all that's going to do is make someone resentful and fucking angry. Like, if I'm just telling you what I did, you do what you want with that. You can fucking run with it. You can use the same suggestion, or you can tell me to go fuck myself in your head and not do it. So telling her this is what you're doing wrong might be the wrong way to do it. You might want to tell her, like, some of the selfish behavior that you're trying not to do in front of the daughter, because you live with the daughter, right?
Yes. Yeah, we're married.
Maybe you could tell her some of the stuff that you're trying not to do, and have these discussions not when you're arguing, but like I said, it's always easier to talk about shit when you're not in the middle of the shit. Like, if you think the kid's being selfish, you might want to talk to her and go, look, man, are we, maybe say we, because you are living there. And then say, look, are you and I doing things that are selfish or that are destructive that are somehow rubbing off on her? Because you might be a little selfish too, dude. Like, she might be more selfish.
I'm sure I am.
So maybe you could point it like that. Like, look, she lives with both of us. You're a bigger influence, but I'm an influence too. And are we doing anything that might rub off on this kid and make her selfish?
All right.
Yeah, you don't want to phrase it like, look, that little twat running around is really bugging me, and it's your fault. Like, there's no way your wife can hear that and go, oh, you're absolutely right. She sucks and so do I. What can we do? That's never a good philosophy. Even though you're probably right.
All right, I appreciate it, Jimmy. And are you coming back to Minneapolis to Acme at all?
I'm not doing Acme, but I'm booking a gig in Minnesota, which will be announced very soon. I'm actually booking it September 25th. I just don't remember the venue, but I'll have the announcement soon.
Wonderful. Thanks.
Okay. Brian in Hartford. As a shock comic, how do I approach taboo subjects with the audience? This is extreme radio. What's up, Brian?
Actually, one, I wanted to say thank you. You encouraged me to hit up a couple of open mics a few weeks ago.
Good.
And I did. But I went out to an open mic, and I finally kind of hit my stride in at least 2 bits. I mean, it's only a 5-minute spot, but it went well. And then I went into this one part where I was really trying to go. I was trying to push people into like an uncomfortable place, and then kind of go, "Oh, is that just me?" type thing. But I figured people just kind of laugh at the embarrassment part of it, and then I lost them for the last 2 minutes.
Well, that happens no matter how long you're doing it. Here's something: if you're okay with it, they're usually okay with it. And when you're talking about things unapologetically, and I don't even mean necessarily aggressively or angrily, but when you're discussing something, there are times where the crowd won't go with you. I mean, it could be racial, it could be sexual, it could be anything. There are times where they're just not going to go with you, and they're going to be annoyed at you, which means maybe the joke is not right, maybe you're not presenting it right. But if you automatically know I'm doing this just to push them, maybe they can sense that. The motive should always be to be funny. Like, you can push them while you're being funny. But you do have to be honest, and funny are really important. You know, maybe they should. I always figure I don't necessarily want to push them. I want to bring them to a place where they voluntarily come with me. Like I talk a lot about liking big meaty vaginas, because I do like them a lot. And I'll actually say to the crowd, because I mean this, I'll be like, especially like if I'm doing the Comedy Cellar where they're not necessarily Jim Norton fans. And I'll go like, I like a big clit. And I'll go like, I'm not trying to tell you this to be dirty. There's just no clean way to say it. But everyone has physical attributes they like. Like some people like blondes or brunettes. I just happen to look like a pussy that looks like whatever. You know, and it's almost like I'm explaining to them why I'm saying it. And I'm trying to get a laugh in the meantime. But it's also making it okay for them. Like, oh, okay, we thought this guy was just trying to shock us and be an asshole, but here's why he's doing it. You know what I mean? So you don't have to explain it like that. But maybe your motive shouldn't be to push them somewhere. It should be to kind of wrangle them into the corner with you and bring them. And there is a difference.
Okay.
One is inclusive, and one is alienating. And as a comedian, you want to be inclusive no matter what your subject matter.
Yeah, I guess I was trying to do. I don't know. I'm a fan of yours, so I'll selfishly say it. But I was trying to. And I saw you in at the here in Foxwoods a few weeks ago. You're fantastic.
Thank you.
But you know, those jokes that you guys always do on the show, where it's always like, you know, so, well, yeah, you know, when I was younger, they used to do that to me, and then you'd say, well, how long ago was that? You're like, I was 32, you know?
Yeah.
Those kind of jokes, but I think I pushed them too far over the line, maybe. That's
don't forget, dude, you only have 5 minutes. It's hard to take the audience on an emotional journey in 5 minutes. And you also, and don't take this wrong, but you might not be good enough yet. You might just be too new. And that's a skill you'll build as you do it for a little longer. It might be one of those things where you're just, you know, you're a little bit green, and it's almost like you're a boxer, and you're still in the gym, and you're hitting the bag, and you're sparring a little bit. But then you get into a real match and you realize, like, oh, I left my hand out there a little too long, and the counter punch was ugly and I wasn't ready for it. So, because even when you lose the audience for a second, there is a way to bring them back, but maybe that is a skill that you still need to acquire just by repetition and just by doing it.
Okay, cool.
So, you know what I mean? So keep doing it, man. But again, don't try to shock the audience. Even if you're doing shocking material, it shouldn't be shocking to them because they watch the nightly news. They can handle it. And you should make them understand this is all fine. Okay?
Gotcha. All right. Thanks, man.
Goodbye. Bye. Hi, Alyssa in New Orleans. What would you like to know about my sexual addiction?
Hey, Jimmy. How are you?
I'm good.
Okay. I literally don't miss a syllable of yours and Opie's show. So I've been wondering this for a long time. If you are, okay, so say that your sex life, you're a productive member of society, right? You know, you make a good living, your life is good. Your sex life, if it doesn't affect anybody else or negatively, why is it an addiction? Why don't you just follow those urges and enjoy yourself?
Well, you know,
does that make sense?
It does, and that's a good question. Addiction isn't necessarily defined by how does it affect other people. But it always affects other people, at least in my experience. And I'll tell you how. Like, it's a big thing when people are drinking. Like, I'm not hurting anyone but myself. But we always do peripheral damage. Like, the damage I do when I'm being addictive sexually is, first of all, I'm lying to people who are close to me.
I was going to say, if the partners are in on it, but if they're not, I understand that. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Because for me, it's very isolating. Or there's other times where it makes me very moody. Or what happens is I'm acting out sexually. I tend to hurt my intimacy with people. You know, I find that it's harder for me to be close to people because no matter, even if my partners are in on it, if my partners are in on it, because I'm an addict, I will want to do something that my partners are not in on. Like for me, a lot of times it was about the high. So like even if a person was open and they were sexual with me, I'd go, okay, now what I want to do is talk to someone who they don't know about. Or I want, like, you know, There's times where I used to hire couples and I would watch them fuck. It was just weird. And even if the guy would let the wife do something with me, like I was paying them. A lot of times you just watch them and you whack off. The high for me would be trying to get the girl to come back by herself. Like they were escorting. It was just one step farther, one more thing. So it was always you're technically right. Like if it was just being dirty with multiple partners and my partner was into it, that's great. But the addiction is not about that any more than gambling is all about winning. It's about the act of doing it. And for me, the one-upping, it's the increasing the high, the increasing the risk, the increasing the money, whatever the fuck it is. That's where it makes my life unmanageable and what fucks me up. But you are right. Like what you're saying, I think applies to a couple if they're just having threesomes. Maybe it's not addictive. Hey, if you guys are okay with it, that's fine. Or a guy who's dating a woman and then decides I want to break up with her and just suck dick. Hey, if it's not hurting anyone and you're enjoying it, knock yourself out. Those are all fine. But those wouldn't classify as addiction. I think addiction just makes me a person I don't want to be.
Gotcha. Can I ask a second thing? I hate to dominate your time, but can I?
Please, I like it. Go ahead. Injure me.
Okay. Now, I'm not enabling you, and both these questions are just totally out of curiosity that I've had for a while. What if you were just a normal, crazy 18-year-old that was partying like the rest of us, and now maybe you're able to have a glass of wine now?
It's funny that, of course, I've thought of that in my life. One of the weird things when you get sober,
because we were all crazy when we were 18, weren't we?
To a certain degree, yeah. We really were. But how many 18 or 19 or 20-year-olds do you know that are dead? Like, there's a lot of people that really do wind up committing suicide or wind up fucking driving into a fucking car and killing people. And it's like, you're not too young to be dead from it. Like, I was a melodramatic cutter. I really wasn't. I was an emo lesbian. But the last time I did it, which was when I was 17, 85, going into 86, I took a razor and I sliced my wrist. And yeah, it was attention seeking. And yeah, I did. But I did have to go and get stitches in my wrist. Like, I was so drunk, it was legitimately, it could have gone the other way. And normal people to me, I just don't think normal people behaved the way I behaved. Like, normal people didn't call in bomb threats. Normal people didn't call the White House or the FBI.
Good point.
Normal people didn't walk down the street holding a butcher knife because they wanted the police to shoot them. Normal people didn't pull the same butcher knife on their other friend. Like all these weird things I did. The very first time I got drunk, I pulled a box cutter on a guy in an A&P who I was friends with. I took out a box cutter and I threatened to slice him with it. It was like the very first time it had an ugly, ugly effect on me.
Your poor tortured mother.
But you know what? I don't wear, people think like, it's not something I think like, I'm this hard, dyed-in-the-wool, Bowery drunk. I know I was very, very fortunate to have stopped at the age I did. I was very lucky to have gotten out when I did, but I have zero doubt from knowing people that I know, there's people who'd relapse after 15 or 20 years. A person I had dinner with the other night told me that a member of her family was sober for 35 years. Yeah. She had gotten a drunk driving arrest and then got sober for 35 years and then started acting bizarre and weird and apparently had relapsed and went out and within a month had another drunk driving arrest. It's like, I know myself and I understand who I am and it's not a matter of I've been brainwashed or, oh my God, those people. Nobody ever told me I had to think anything about being sober. Their advice to me was, hey, if you don't think this is for you, go out and try it again. We'll be here when you get back. And I did actually do that for another year when I first got sober. But I have thought of that. Of course I've thought of that. And I just know it wouldn't be as relatable to me. Like I wouldn't be able to read, say, these certain 12 steps and have all of these things connect with me on a real visceral level and understand them and relate to them. Or I listen to a 60-year-old guy talk and the only thing I don't relate to is the length of time or perhaps some of the penalties. Like I was lucky. I didn't go to prison. Yeah. It's like, what am I supposed to do to convince myself? Like, hey, maybe I was just a crazy teenager, so I should start again and then take the risk that I'm going to drunk drive and kill somebody and have a mandatory 10-year prison sentence. Like there's no way out of it if you kill someone drunk driving. It's like there's zero upside for me to test that theory.
good. Yeah, don't.
But it is a valid question. And I definitely understand why you asked that, and I've certainly asked myself that question, of course.
Okay. Awesome.
All right.
Thank you so much. Hey,
bye, Alyssa. Thank you very much.
Killing it on the other show.
Oh, thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate you listening.
All right. Bye. Thanks. Love
Take
you.
care. All right, bye. Mike in Philly, a question about maintaining sobriety after you complete an outpatient program. Hello, Mike.
How you doing, Jimmy?
Good. How are you?
I'm 25. I got my second DUI in November, and I've been sober now for four and a half months, and my outpatient group has just ended. It ends tonight, and I was going once a week at the end and then 3 days a week in the beginning. And I was wondering if some people do the whole sobriety thing without going to groups, or should I start going to AA after this? Because they really didn't give a lot of guidance, after the outpatient's over.
Well, I mean, again, it's an individual choice. Most people I know who have had successful sobriety, and even there the odds are very low, have done it through 12-step groups. That's always my recommendation. But again, if there's other things that you think might work, that's fine too. I mean, I don't tell people that that's the only way. That was just what worked for me. But again, the meetings did something for me. 12-step groups did something. Someone asked me the other night what they do, and I really can't give you a logical answer. Like, all I know is the person I was when I walked in, the frightened person who had zero future. I don't care if I was only 18 years old. I still have fucking, it's funny, when I turned 21, the scars on my fucking wrists and my arms didn't go away. All that stuff is still there. The person I was when I walked in is just so much different. Part of that is age and maturity, but look at how I am sexually. I'm fucking 46 years old, and the sexual stuff is not nearly as immediately life-threatening as the other stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't, you don't pick up a knife and go after somebody when you're fucked up, even though it can cost you. But it's just done so much for me, and my life has been so different that it's the only recommendation I can give is 12 steps. But if that, do you have a resistance to that? No. And by the way, let me give out the phone number. So hold on. Sorry, buddy. It's 866-969-1969 if you wish to call in. Yes.
No, I really don't. I mean, I really maybe I kind of feel guilty because I feel like I don't have not as bad of a problem, but I really haven't experienced like the cravings or the triggers that I hear about in group, and I almost feel like I don't know that not that I don't belong there, but like I'm not as bad as they are. Like they need it more than I do. But you know what I mean? Like it's almost like I feel guilty for being there. Like someone else needs it more than I do.
Yeah, but there's an old thing, you want to identify and not compare. Because if I compared myself to people who had done 20 years in jail, I would never think I have a problem. And that's what we always do, is we find people who are worse than us. It's really easy to do that. Like, if I ever get that fucked up, it's funny. Joe Elliott said that in an Ozzy documentary. Like, Ozzy was always the guy that everyone looked at and go, like, if I ever get that fucking bad, like, Ozzy was like the if I ever get that bad for everyone in music. But I would find that relating to the things that I have in common with them is a little bit more helpful than finding because there's a million things I'm not going to have in common. You know what I mean? Oh, I never did this. I never did that. I never beat my wife. I'm not married. But if I find the things like, you know what? I did vomit every single night that I did it. I did have blackouts. I did, whether it was for real or not, injure myself. Purposefully injure myself. I did all of these things that a lot of people did. So find the things that you relate to. I think that's a bit more helpful because comparing, inevitably, we're always going to find the comparisons that let us off the hook. That's what I would do. You know what I mean? If I'm comparing, if I'm a gambler and I'm looking at other fucking gamblers, I'm like, well, I didn't blow $1 million. Well, it's like, you don't have $1 million, stupid. So that what? You can't be an addict if you don't have $1 million? You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I would say definitely try to find the things you can relate to.
All right. Well, thank you. When are you coming back to Philly?
I may have something coming up after the summer. The next thing I have in that area is the Borgata, July 10 and 11, which is, South Jersey, Philly market.
Yeah, get tickets set. All right, thanks a lot, Jimmy.
All right, man. Good luck, buddy. And stick with it, okay? John in Texas having a problem with the co-owner of your restaurant. You think the guy's pulling some shady moves. Uh-oh. Hey, John.
Yeah, what's going on, man? Big
How
fan.
are you? Thank you, buddy.
So I got this problem, man. I opened a restaurant with a guy that's my dad's friend. He's got a couple other restaurants. He's a pretty successful guy. So the restaurant's been taken off. We've been pulling in some crazy numbers, and we've only opened about 3 months ago. So to be on the safe side, we haven't been really paying ourselves very much just to make sure the business has enough money for everything. So this morning, I text this guy and I say, hey, man, we've been doing good. We got extra money in the account. Do you want to go ahead and split some of it? I'll take some, you take some, and we'll make sure to leave enough in there.
Okay.
He gives me a call back and starts saying that if it's not enough money, I should get another job, and that, if I need more, he'll sell me his half and all this stuff. And we got into this big argument. And this isn't the first incident. I found out one of the waitresses was getting paid out of his pocket to kind of spy on the place. Needless to say, once I found out, I fired her on the spot.
Sure.
But I was hoping I could get some advice from you because I'm kind of stuck in a bind. I'm actually going to see him now, and I'm trying to think of some stuff to say to him to kind of get through his head that, we are partners in this, and I'm not going to be disrespected by him and, talked down to by him. And also I'm going to do what's right for the business and for my own pocket.
Are you guys equal partners, or are you more of a senior partner?
We're equal partners, 50-50. We split everything.
Well, I think you can have it. And how much older is he? He's your dad's friend, right?
Yeah, he's my dad's friend. He used to work for my dad like 30 years ago, and my dad actually taught him how to open restaurants and run restaurants.
Now, when you say shady things, do you think he's stealing money?
Well, he does things without telling me. Like, for example, he gave an advance on one of the cook's paychecks and didn't tell me about it. So I almost wrote the guy another check, and it's not a small check for the head chef. Like I said, he's paid that other waitress to kind of spy on me.
Right, to spy. That's bad. That's bad.
So he's been doing all this stuff, and like he forwards my calls and stuff like that, and I'm really getting like fed up with him.
What do you mean he forwards your calls?
Like, for example, he had told me he had gotten the fire permit for the building. So, and since we bought a building, we got a building that was already a restaurant previously. By law, you don't have to notify the fire department to get a new permit. But he told me he had got the permit. So the fire marshal actually came in for dinner and noticed our vent hood didn't cover the entire kitchen, like all the kitchen equipment from the ovens and stuff like that. So I had called him to ask him, why he told me he had gotten the fire permit and never gotten it. So I kept calling him, and he kept forwarding my calls. And I text him, and he doesn't answer the text. And, this went on for a few days until just today when I got in touch with him.
And what was his answer?
Oh, he said he's going to go.
Are you going to address it? Are you going to address it when you see him?
Yeah, I want to get everything out on the table. I really want to make this work because, he's got a family. I've got a family. I support my parents. My father's got cancer, so obviously he can't work. And, we got a lot of bills racking up. And I really want to make this work. And I've tried my hardest to communicate with him and to be fair and to, just to be on the same level on everything. But he refuses to, budge an inch.
So he's just kind of a stubborn asshole, right?
Yeah, he's pretty much a fucking prick. And I knew, he's an idiot, and I knew he was an idiot. But at the time, it's a lot of money to open a restaurant, so it would be easier. And I have other things I do as well, so it's easier to have a partner and for me to work 1 week, open to close, and for him to work 1 week. That way we both have time for our other places and,
sure,
what else we're doing with our families and whatnot.
And you want to know how you can kind of talk to him and get across that you're not going to tolerate it. Yeah,
exactly. And, that's exactly what I'm calling for.
I think all you can do is, nobody wants to be accused. You can have the discussion where you're firm and you're very, I'm not going to say forceful, but very sure of yourself without accusing him of being a thief or a scumbag. Because if you accuse someone of being a thief or a scumbag, they're automatically going to go, no, I'm not. Like, you're not going to say anything that makes him go, oh, yeah, you're right, I'm a piece of shit. Like, you know what I mean? There's no magic thing you're going to say that makes him say that. So I would always suggest just trying to be very calm when you have these discussions, and always let somebody know you're firm and leave them a little bit of a face saving out. Meaning, not that they can continue to do shit, but that they can change what they're doing and still feel like it was their idea, or still feel like they're not being accused of being a scumbag. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
I see what you're saying.
By leaving them a bit of an out, I don't mean like letting them continue to do it. It's almost when two guys are in a bar and they're arguing. Most times when a fight's about to happen, most guys just want an out. Like, usually we want a way to walk away without actually throwing fists. You know, again, if you're Chuck Liddell, you're not looking for an out. But most of us just want a way where we don't have to go, I'm scared. Can I leave? You know what I mean? So if one guy goes, hey man, I don't want the fucking cops to come, the other guy will go, yeah, me neither. And they'll both walk away because they have that face saving out. And I think that's what you might want to do. So I would just say don't accuse him of it. But you can at least be honest and go, look, I suspect this might be happening. I'm not sure, but I prefer it didn't, you know. And again, if it continues to happen after you have a discussion, that's one thing. And,
man, I really see what you're saying. That's something I didn't think about. I appreciate that. I just have one more question.
Sure.
How would you approach the disrespectful nature of it? You know, he hung up on me twice today. He told me if it's not enough money, get another job. And, you know, this is a guy I've always respected. I've never said anything bad to him, you know, and I've never been anybody's, you know, I've never been a pushover, to put it that way. So I have to on the radio.
Let me ask you, how hard would it be to get out of the business?
I mean, it's a good spot. It's producing a lot of money, so I don't really want to get out of it. You know what I mean?
Well, if you're 50-50 partners, maybe your personal relationship just won't be good. But you can say to him that you don't want to be spoken to that way. And you can say to him, why'd you hang up on me? Like, if we're in business together, like, and I'm calling you and I'm not yelling at you, why are you hanging up? Maybe he's got problems at home, or maybe he's having real money problems that you don't know about.
Well, yeah, he gambles a lot. I know that.
Oh, my God. That's terrible, dude. That's the worst guy to get in business with.
His brother actually just left his other restaurant because he had asked for more money. And I guess they had gotten to a confrontation. And so he just took off and left. So now he has a restaurant without anybody running it. You know, he's lost the house because of his gambling, and he's
well, I can see why you get into business with him. So obviously the money situation is fucked up. He probably snaps at you and he's a cunt after he has a bad day of gambling. That's probably what it is. He might owe some money that's not coming in, or he's panicking about something. Well, if it's not enough, just get a job, because by you asking, that means he can't take the money he wants to filter to the other restaurant or back to the guy he owes it to.
Right.
So I would suggest, dude, if he's not going to get help for his gambling, because he could get help for his gambling and still be a very, very good business partner. But then you may have to look elsewhere, because you say the money, it's bringing in a lot of business, but you're obviously not seeing enough of it. So maybe you could get into the restaurant with someone else who's not going to gamble it, because I think being in business with a gambler can be a really, really bad proposition.
Yeah, and it's starting to show up that way.
Have you talked to him about his gambling or asked him?
You know, no, I haven't really went there because, you know, I'm not a perfect person too. I don't really gamble, you know. But, you know, I like to go out and I like to party. I'm still pretty young. I'm 24. He's a lot older than me. He's 55, 56. So I don't really want to get into his personal life too much and, you know, say all that.
Yeah, that's true. But if it's affecting your business, you might be able to ask about it and just go, look, I don't know if it is or not. But the bottom line is you can't just keep silent if you think he's gambling away money that's yours.
Yeah. And I'll bring this up because we haven't really been paying ourselves, and we have so much money in the business account that we could pay all the bills for 3 months, you know, all the wages for employees, everything for 3 months. We don't need all that money in there, you know, and since we haven't been paying ourselves, it's like, why let it sit there?
Yeah, just make sure he doesn't take it off. I got to run, dude, because I got one more call to take because we have 2 minutes left. But I would just.
All right, brother.
Good luck, man. Keep me up
and
posted. I'm kind of curious how this one works out.
Okay, man. I'll let you know. I appreciate it.
Be good, buddy. Good luck. Last one, real quick. Rick in Georgia, you were in jail for domestic violence or domestic dispute. You lost your dad, and you're having a hard day. We only got 2 minutes, buddy. I'm sorry we're on short time. How are you?
I'm all right. Hanging in there, and I know I got 2 minutes, but I'll make it real quick. Got into an altercation with the wife. I was on my motorcycle. She left me stranded at a restaurant, and I didn't have my glasses on me, and I tried calling her, and I couldn't see without glasses at 60 miles an hour and stuff. So anyhow, I went home, and we've had a hostile relationship, and she started walking towards me, and I pushed her, and she fell back, hit the table, and I'm very lucky she didn't hit her head.
Sure.
And I lost my dad a month ago, and I'm a wreck.
Okay.
I'm a wreck.
Well, you have a bad day.
Bad day. Yeah.
But is your radio on behind you? I can hear myself echoing.
I'm sorry?
Maybe no, I can hear myself echoing. Now it's okay. You know what? Maybe look at the bright side. If there is a bright side, your dad dying stinks, and the domestic incident was worse. But take that one thing of, okay, you got to the point of critical mass. You didn't punch her. You never should have shoved her. If she's willing to forgive you, and you can guarantee that you will never do that again, maybe you went down a dark road and got very lucky to turn around and come off it before it got bad.
You're absolutely right. And I really do appreciate it.
But you really have to mean to yourself that no matter what a cunt she acts like, or no matter, and I'm not saying that to be politically correct, you simply can't do it. You can't grab somebody else or push them, no matter how shitty they're being or how bitchy or how awful you're interpreting them. You know, because don't forget, man, you do that, she may want to stick a fucking knife in you. Like, it just escalates, and you're always going to lose that one because you're the male, unless she just stabs you. It's no win, and you're going to damage things beyond where they can ever be fixed. So my suggestion would be very grateful that you fucked up one time, and it only went there. So maybe you got off easy if she's willing to forgive you.
Well, we'll see. She's been contacting me. I'm not supposed to have any contact with her, and she's been writing me. So it's pretty difficult because I don't know what to do. But I am seeking help on Tuesday just to sit down and try and figure things out. But, I'm a big fan of yours, Jimmy. I met you twice. You're a great guy. You're funnier than hell. I seen you at the Comedy Zone in Charlotte and North Carolina. And I really do appreciate your advice. And
thank you. Yeah, to sit down and talk with somebody would be a great thing, man. So that's what I would suggest you do. I'm happy you're doing it. I mean, good. Just be open-minded and listen and realize that you're part of the problem, too.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right. Good luck, buddy.
Thank you.
Take care. So I apologize to the people online we did not get to. We are actually over. I've been saying rap for the last couple minutes. So thank you guys all for your calls, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to The Jim Norton Show. Hear all that advice whenever you want to on demand at SiriusXM.com/on-demand. On Sirius XM is